The truth that they have been hiding from us has finally been revealed, and it is absolutely insane how close this season was to looking completely different, and we have to break it all down. What's up, guys? I'm Matt Long. Welcome to Columbus Football 365. If you're an Ohio State Buckeye fan, please hit that subscribe button. Only 5.3% of viewers are subscribed to the channel, but let's jump into this absolutely crazy news that broke today. Coming from Sports Illustrated, Ohio State's head coach Ryan Day has had an impressive run over the past year, leading the team to victories against 4 top 10 opponents in the college football playoff, which resulted in winning the national championship. He has also kicked off this season with a remarkable 8-0 record. However, if Day had not led a fantastic college football playoff run last season, he might not be coaching the Buckeyes this season. And coming from Bill Rabinowitz on the Big Play Cleveland show today, he says Ryan Day considered leaving Ohio State last season. He said, honestly, they were ready to leave Columbus. I don't believe Ohio State would have fired him, but I do believe that the days were ready to go. This is absolutely crazy to hear that Ryan Day was considering leaving Ohio State after another disappointing loss to Michigan. They're kind of stacking up now. When they had the championship level team, people looked at that team and said, it's okay if Ohio State loses to them because that's a championship team. They're going to win the championship. And they did win the championship. But last year, it was finally our turn to get back at that team and beat them. And we didn't. We came out flat on our own turf, and it was ugly. It was an ugly game. Jack Sawyer made an amazing interception on when we had our backs to the end zone, but it still wasn't enough, and Michigan squeaked out a win in what was a pretty poor season overall for them win-loss wise, but they beat us, so that saved their season, which I completely understand. I mean, that's when it comes down to the game, it just comes down to the game, but people everywhere were calling for Ryan Day to be fired, which was absolutely insane. Today, we know Ryan Day as the college football head coach with the highest winning percentage in the history of college football. The guy in number 2 was a Notre Dame coach from like the 1910s. It's ridiculous. No one has had a winning percentage quite like Ryan Day in absolutely forever, and it's a complete game changer having him as a part of this staff. And it's huge that he blocked out the outside noise. He didn't give in to what other people were saying, and it's understandable why he was considering it, because that game is so important that sometimes it feels like that the game is more important than winning a national championship. And the fact that we lost that game en route to winning a national championship, it almost makes the national championship. Some people are saying it makes the national championship not matter. I don't agree with that, but the rivalry really, they don't get more bitter than Michigan versus Ohio State in the game. But Ryan Day stepped up. Now we know him as the head coach of the team that rolled over the college football playoffs. And then the head coach that is looking like he's on his way to maybe even winning back-to-back national championships, which puts him in, if the winning percentage wasn't enough, that would put Ryan Day in even more rarefied air in terms of all-time great college football head coaches. I mean, we've seen a couple really dominant teams over the last decade with Georgia, with Clemson, with Alabama, and that would put this current Ohio State regime right up there in going down in history as one of the best teams of all time and one of the best little pockets of a franchise, and was already a storied program, historical program. So it's great to see that Ryan Day, you got to keep saying it, blocking out the noise, making sure that he just controls what he can control, comes out, coach a good game. Sometimes you don't always come out on the winning end, but so far this season, Ohio State has came out on the winning end every single opportunity that they have had, riding it to an 8-0 record, currently sitting at the number 1 team in the college football playoff rankings. Now, historically, people have been pointing out that is it not always a good thing to be ranked number 1? It is historically not a good thing to be ranked number 1 in the college football playoff poll, but that stat it's really more of a circumstantial thing, not an actual in stone. It's more of like a correlation versus causation. It doesn't, just because Ohio State is ranked as the #1 team in the first college football playoff poll, and the team that has been ranked as the best team in the first college football playoff poll in the past, they've made mistakes and faltered, not followed through by winning a national championship. That does not make Ohio State any less likely to win a national championship. You have to actually watch what's going on the field. The game's played on the field, not in projections. AP voters are not voting on who wins football games and who the win gets assigned to. Those are played on the field, and Ohio State has some of, not only Ryan Day, the coordinator, some of the best coaching in the entire country, which is part of what is leading to Ohio State being just as dominant as they've been in the last couple of years. We have pretty much this season, I don't even know what kind of program could even boast a better coordinator duo than Ohio State currently has, with Matt Patricia rolling out all of his NFL style schemes where we're coming out in too high and then rolling into a cover one, or, all the moving of the safeties, splitting coverages where we play one kind of coverage to one side of the field and the other coverage is something completely different. Or you move over to Brian Hartline, who in his first year of this stint of being an offensive coordinator is absolutely killing it. And you could argue having the Heisman Trophy voting or odds-on favorite in Julian Sayin and the best player in college football, Jeremiah Smith, along with Carnell Tate, a guy who I've seen mocked #5 overall in the NFL draft more and more and more. That makes it a lot easier to call an offense. So maybe we're giving Brian Hartline a little bit too much credit. I can understand why people would say that. The Ohio State team is an extremely, extremely talented roster, and it does, when you have players as talented as we do, it makes it a whole lot easier to coach. But that doesn't wipe away the fact that the coaching has still been extremely high level at Ohio State at just every level, offense, defense. And then moving forwards to what we have coming up this weekend, we have a matchup against Purdue versus a defensive-minded head coach who will have tricks for Ohio State. When you are the defending national champions, every single team has secrets for you. You're circled on their schedule. They are ready to bring something special for you for that weekend. They want to make this matchup because when you look at what we have, Purdue, UCLA, Rutgers, and the team up north, any of these teams, they will consider it a successful season if they're able to win this game or our game against them. So it starts with Purdue. We've talked about taking every single game, one game at a time, which is one of the #1 things that Ryan Day does. He makes sure that every single weekend and every single week of preparation, Ohio State is preparing for specifically that week's opponent. They're not looking forwards. They're understanding that in a conference as difficult as the Big Ten is, any team is capable of knocking you off if they just have a couple footballs bounced their way. And if you don't come out and play your A game, if you don't come out with effort and intensity in the first quarter and keep it up through the entire game, or at least up until you're up enough points where the other team isn't threatening anymore, you have to make sure you're always fighting in these Big Ten matchups. This is no joke conference. Even if we're playing Purdue, who's currently on a 7-game losing streak, they gave Michigan all they could handle last week, and they've had a couple very close matchups over the past month. Purdue, much improved from where they were last season, and Ohio State has to make sure they are ready. So we're not even going to think about the other games yet. I know everyone wants to talk about November 29th against the team up north, Ohio State. We have an opportunity to beat them in their own arena, in their own stadium. We got to make sure we go out and do it, and just make sure, take the games one game at a time. Let's go beat Purdue. But that's what I got for this video. If you stuck around this long, appreciate you taking the time to watch. Hit that like button if you haven't already. Hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel, and go Buckeyes.